Well, hello, Facebook. Good to be back with you this lovely Friday afternoon. And today we are going to chat about you becoming a trailblazer and taking on this challenge and committing to something that is so important for you to do to your business. And that is to lean in on the concept and take action on joining Facebook groups. 2018 has really been a whirlwind for businesses on Facebook. And with a few things going on these days, Facebook groups is an opportunity that has emerged to really get your brand out there. Now, I know a lot of you may be thinking things like, I have been watching my organic reach on my Facebook page swing up and down. My ad costs has gone up and down. Facebook is so volatile these days, and it can feel absolutely overwhelming, especially in the last few months, that you want to then start thinking about how you can create and future-proof your strategy on Facebook. And how you can do this in one way is to use Facebook groups. And I know how important it is, time management is to our community here at Edgar. We experienced it as a small business too. But we want to remember when managing our time in marketing, it is about fitting everything together in one cohesive strategy. So I greatly appreciate that you guys taking the time out of your day to day to engage and watch us as we attempt to explain why having Facebook groups as a part of your strategy is actually worth your time. And you can, as a small business, run your business like a big business if you have these goals all looped together and if you have management systems in place. So we'll touch on some of those things as we dive in here. And remember, this concept truly is all about creating communities online. So as we do this, I wanted to also start out by talking about something we're going to start doing with these Facebook Lives and with our webinars here at MeetEdgar, and that is going to be called the hashtag Edgar Challenge. So this is a hashtag we're going to be starting to use a lot to keep each other accountable as a community. So for example, on this Facebook Live today, we're focusing on creating groups and group strategy. And what we would love for you to do is use the hashtag Edgar Challenge to let us know when you join a group or when you create a group that's going to push your business forward. So tweet at us. Our handle is at MeetEdgar. Tweet at us when you do, what your goals are with this, and add the hashtag Edgar Challenge. I'll put it in the comments below, of course, too, so that we can start to be each other's accountability partners and start to put all of these tips to action. That is one of the hardest parts of marketing these days, is there's so much advice out there, so much fun stuff to learn, that we want to make sure that we're not spending all of our time learning, but actually acting upon these great tips and tricks. So hashtag Edgar Challenge is the thing to use. Let us know, tweet at us at meetedgar.com when you join or create a group today, and let's dive into some best practices. So with Facebook groups, businesses can have this seamless and real conversations with our followers to gain a lot of audience insight, as well as offer a lot of value to our audience. And having a platform like Facebook groups to really demonstrate your thought leadership and provide your potential customers with knowledge about your product is really something you cannot afford to miss out on. And to do this, it is all about these concepts we talk about all the time here at MeetEdgar, and that is to create amazing connections with people who will benefit from your knowledge and offer them more value than you expect in return. And it is so powerful to see people connect online these days in really great ways. And when done right, it can be a great way you can transmit common wisdom, and you can form these experiences that people really want to rally around in groups. So throughout common marketing strategies, like being a storyteller in your messages, this is something we talk about a lot here at Edgar, and it is something you can translate to groups on Facebook better than on pages and better than on your Twitter or LinkedIn community. So we're going to focus a lot on creating really powerful stories. And I want to pause here for a minute and focus on this storytelling concept as you start to join and create groups. We hear all the time that human brains are wired to really connect to stories, the hero's journey, overcoming obstacles, the walk away story as you're trying to convey how you don't want to spend too much time on something that's not working. All of these stories are things humans can relate to and experience. So think of valuable lessons that you can learn. I was actually listening to a podcast recently that touched on this in a really great way. And it was talking about this idea that if you go out to brunch and have a terrible experience, that might not be a story you necessarily go to in order to share in a business group on Facebook, but you can actually tease out a lesson from that that could be valuable for your other followers or other people in the group to actually learn from. And this being the fact that you can go into the fact that, hey, this customer experience was terrible at this brunch that I had. As a business owner, this is what I would do to improve it. That is a lesson that people can relate to. We've probably all had a subpar experience at a restaurant. You relating it back to your business can then have a nice touch point where people can tell their own stories around this. So think about stories and think about things that happen in your life that you might not think directly relate to marketing, but there are lessons that can be learned in there. And these are great connectors, especially in Facebook groups. So if you've been listening closely to all these tips, the one thing that I'm sure you've noticed has started to stand out, and the word that keeps coming up over and over, is this word of value. Groups are a way to provide value to all the members involved, including the creator yourself. And as content creators and marketers already, you have a ton of value out there to offer. So it seems to fit your strategy perfect. So going back to that concept that everything needs to fit into the one marketing goal that you have, so it works seamlessly together. And this is really important because groups are joined mostly by personal profiles. Pages actually are able to join groups these days, but I'd encourage you as a business owner to start joining groups with your personal profile, or start your group with your personal profile. Because it's these personal touches that groups can help build that are so useful. Because it's people talking to people. And this person-to-person connection is so important to increase your all-important know, like, and trust factor on social media. The quality of the content you're sharing in your groups can really be up-leveled if you're doing it with your personal profile. And even if it's not directly related to your product or service, remember, sharing personal stories and getting that personal touch on social media is a great way to increase brand loyalty, because people buy from people, not businesses. People want to relate to other people. And you putting your personal profile and your personal values out there will really do great things for your brand in the long run. Now, I say both of these things close together, as putting you into your brand really is so, so important. So I suggest starting out by joining some groups with your personal profile in your industry to see what the conversations are like, to see what people are talking about, and to see how you can add your unique thought leadership in your niche and get your brand's values out there. And after you get your toes wet joining other people's groups and gaining value and making connections, let's talk about the next step of your #Edgar challenge, and that is to create a group of your own. So as you're starting to think about some groups that you could create, I want you to brainstorm what would be helpful to your community, or who your persona is for your product or service, and what their pain points are, and how having a group rallied around these pain points can be so, so helpful. The best Facebook groups out there really have a clear and specific reason for existing. Even if those reasons limit the group's potential and their popularity, having that clearness around who this group is for and who this group is not for is really important to have a strong presence there. So as you're starting to generate topics for your group, sit down and think what's missing in the conversations that you've seen in these other groups you're joining, so yours can have a clear and concise purpose that differentiates it from others. So as you're thinking about your group topic, the next step is to give that little group, that little precious bundle of joy that you are creating, a solid name. Thinking of a good name is going to take a little bit of time, so don't rush this process. Sit down with a pen and paper and start to brainstorm some really great names to describe your group that's going to emotionally connect with your audience and give them a realistic expectation of what your group is for. So think about your target audience and think about how you can incorporate words that they already use, words that they know, keywords in your industry and niche to describe who you are and who you are not for. Seriously, because even SEO, when it comes to searching for groups, is so, so important. So generate some keywords, think about the things that are really going to stand out. So some best practices now that you've named your great little group is going to be brainstorming the balance of targeted content in your description. So your description is going to be the next thing I want you to focus on after you've come up with a killer title. Just like the title of the group name, incorporating these words that you've generated for that headline into your description can also be important, because these will be picked up when people are searching for groups with those words. So remember to sit down and get a good balance of industry keywords as well as those that are going to, again, help the group seem even more human, because people don't want to join a group that's not run by real humans and not having conversations between people. So your description should really incorporate a great mix of industry-specific words and words that are going to make your group stand out as human on Facebook. Guys, there are literally millions of groups on Facebook these days. So it's your responsibility that your description lets people know how your group is different. And remember, being different from anything else that's being talked about on Facebook these days is going to help you stand out. You don't want to just be one in the crowd. It's a crowded space. So think about those differentiating words to really get the right people involved. And even if your niche and your industry seems really broad, you can look for ways to identify how your product is unique by talking to other people and talking to your users and talking to people who already use your product in order to get a really good connection going. So use that description to communicate the purpose of your group, and your group's purpose isn't just the subject matter, it is the identity. So sit down with your audience personas and think what they identify with when you're creating that description. And it's really important to keep this in mind, as we want to let people know what they can expect from the group from the minute that they join it. So set expectations in the description of your group too. To go a little bit further, even as a pro tip, remember you can also always pin a post to the top of your group. So that's the first thing that people see when they come into. And what a lot of people do, and some common practices, is to sit down and actually think, hey, what are the rules and expectations of behavior in this group, and have them in that pinned post. It can be even a video of you coming on there, introducing yourself and talking to that new member, specifically one-on-one, so that they know, again, how to behave to get the most out of your group. And that pin post will stay at the top. So it'll be a thing that every new audience member sees, creating that awesome consistency. All right, so you've developed your mission, you've got your great title, you've got an awesome description and a welcomed pin post. What is going to be next in the #Edgar challenge of creating your group? It is going to be to start getting some great engagement around your group. So you need to lead by example, especially if you're creating your own group, and start the conversations. Your followers are going to be much more likely to share their own personal stories and to really reply back if you're setting that up for them. So you need to lead by example by having your content out there, sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, your tips, asking questions is one of the biggest one, and making sure you're commenting on and replying to other people's comments to keep the discussion interesting. And using a tool like MeetEdgar is actually really great for group and community connection too, because what you can do is you can actually sit down and you can batch out the questions that are going to create the most engagement. And you can sit down and think about and batch out the blog articles that you want to share out in a really strategic way. So you can create categories within MeetEdgar that are related to your group specifically, and know that this is going to create a sort of consistency that your group can really come to count on. And it's not only for your group that having a scheduling tool like MeetEdgar is going to be great for. What it's also going to allow you to do is have all of that content out for a month of your group. So every time you go to your group, you're spending more time in real life engagement. So I want you to actually think, when you're adding your group, what you can do to consistently make sure that these are going out. And one thing that I like to suggest doing is doing like weekly themed posts when it comes to this too. So, this is really with the intention of sparking more member engagement. So for example, like if you're a health coach, maybe on Mondays, you can consistently always be posting a certain health tip around a recipe and really implore your community to share their favorite recipes. And this is, again, a consistent thing you can do when you use a tool like Edgar, because you can have these weekly categories and know that weekly posts will go out to your community and they will not miss a beat. And think of other ways you can do this. Like if you're not a health coach, if you're a business person, you can always do this thing where you're sharing personal stories and make it themed weekly, like with a Win Wednesday post where you're sharing some business wins for the week and encouraging your community to share their lessons learned as well. And these theme posts are great conversation starters and can be actually scheduled ahead of time in a tool like Edgar, which then allows you to jump back in and personally engage a little bit more. All right. And as always, we want to make sure that your group members know what to expect next. So my last tip when using a scheduling tool like MeetEdgar with your groups is maybe to create a little bit of a teaser situation too. So as you know, Edgar is great for your evergreen content because we will cycle through it, but you can do time-specific posts in Edgar with our advanced settings on your post. And what this would allow you to do is if you know you have a really influential guest coming to join your group and do a Facebook Live, create a teaser about that to get your community excited and let them know what the topics are for the coming weeks. Our brains love this sort of teaser content. I mean, think about when you are watching TV shows. You want to see what's coming next week. So utilize this kind of already established thing that our brains love to hear and bring that into your Facebook groups to always be telling people what is coming next. All right, guys. So once you start doing and sharing some great content and scheduling it all out so it's really systemized, you want to make sure that you start authentically getting conversations going with new members, which means you need to find new members for your group. So unfortunately, as magical as the internet is, new members are not just going to join automatically. We do have to go out and recruit them, but rest assured there are some tried and true easy ways that you can actually do this. Some ways you can start, some super simple ways, is to actually start cross-promoting on your own Facebook page. Let your Facebook page members know that you have exclusive content in your group and there are conversations going on in your group that they're missing out on, and kind of create that little fear of missing out in their heads and let them know how much value they can gain by joining in your group as well. So cross-promote on the established platforms you already have. And you don't want to forget to start trying to funnel people outside of Facebook into your group too. So you don't even have to just cross-promote on your Facebook page. Let people know in a Twitter chat that you have a similar conversation going on in your group. Entice people there. You know, if members allow for it, go out and actually direct message people in your industry, in your niche, and tell them about the benefits of joining your group. You know, hop on some really great Twitter chats, some really great Instagram hashtags, and find people who have common goals in your industry so you can direct message them, enticing them to come to your group. You know, other things you can start doing is get the word out to your emailed subscribers. A lot of them are just there to get your great content in your email and don't realize it's being offered in other places like your social media profiles. So don't miss the opportunity to email out to your list why your group matters. You can also feature your group and ask for referrals in other people's newsletters. Do some cross promotion with other brands to get your brand in front of their eyes. It can be great to create these partnerships and grow the trust of the entire industry at the same time. So while you're growing your group, I also want you to think about an important concept. And that is that you want the right people to join your group. As a group owner, you're kind of the gatekeeper to the whole conversation, and you want to take the time to approve the right people into your group and set expectations of who the group is for. It's all about quality control, so your group can stay a safe, really engaged, fun place for people to hang out. You owe it to your most loyal followers to make sure you are improving a really friendly and really cohesive value-added atmosphere. So go out and seek the right people to keep that vibe going. I really do believe in the power of Facebook groups these days, not only because it's what the algorithms are telling us they want, that meaningful connection, all that fun stuff, but it's a great place to get those touch points of like-minded communities to grow your product and service. So use this as a place where you can gain insights on, you know, the types of content that people are really looking for to create your own content down the road, or get some insights into how people are actually using your product or service to improve it internally as well. You can always make sure that you have this in a great crowded space, conversations that are relating people, and your audience really does have a choice to join in on these. So make sure you are making it a worthwhile place for them to hang out. So guys, the bottom line is Facebook pages are still really great for getting your message out there and creating community, but Facebook groups can offer a whole new way to connect to your audience. So please join me in this hashtag Edgar challenge as we start to really zoom in on Facebook groups. I'd love for you to go out and at least join one group that has to do with your industry. You're not only going to be doing this as research for creating your own group, but it's going to offer you so much value to learn about the conversations going on. And joining a supportive online community is great as a solopreneur or entrepreneur to get that great mentorship from all the knowledge being shared in them. And the second part of your hashtag Edgar challenge is to go out and create a group for your own. Start slowly with the tips on creating a strong headline, creating a great description and mission, and then start promoting out and getting some engagement going in the group. Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for you joining in today. And let us know in the comments below anything that you have question-wise, or email support@meetedgar.com. And please don't forget to tweet us at MeetEdgar with the hashtag Edgar Challenge, so that we can really start to understand and join in together as we go about joining and creating Facebook groups. Thanks, guys. Have a really awesome Friday, and I'll see you next week.